the $50,000. Did you guys watch that where they even show the video of
No.
All right, we
that's
are
that
now
horrible
streaming,
man with
so I'm going to
ice?
call the meeting to order.
Okay.
So,
All right.
thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the lively discussion before the meeting. I want to welcome our guests. I see a few names who are guests, so if you would like to raise your hand so I can call on you, and then we will just introduce yourself briefly. Um, I saw Doug Jones and a few other people with us. If you want to introduce yourself.
I guess I'll go first since I'm
Okay.
first from left to right. Name is Art Kofresi. I'm first time here, obviously, and I'm kind of curious as to what two things. What do you think about my idea, and if you have an affirmative opinion of it, then your ideas on what I could do with it.
I'm not sure what idea that would be, but moving on, Doug, introduce yourself if you can. Or if you're not near your computer.
It can be really hard to unmute yourself sometime if you're on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do we have any other?
I don't think so. I think everybody else is a member.
Yeah, because I think the other name I saw has either changed his name or dropped off. So we will move on. But welcome everyone. We do have a forum. Do we have the land acknowledgement available? Oh, there's Doug. I see him now. Are you able to unmute and introduce yourself?
Yes, I am. My apologies. I was doing organizing for the campaign. I'm going to be talking to you tonight in Contra Costa County. So, Doug Jones, political organizer, SEIU United Healthcare Workers. Um, uh, have returned to a central committee. I'm back on the Alameda County Democratic Party Central Committee as an associate for 80/20. And I've worked with this central committee a number of times before, and the campaign we're going to be talking about briefly tonight is a really important one. So I'm glad this is on the agenda.
All right, thank you. All right.
Do you have any light on your face?
Let me, how about that? I'm in
Yeah,
my car.
because we know you. You've been around.
I have been around, and there's a little more light. Hopefully I'm in a nice healthy glow now.
Well, thank you. Glad you could join us. Amber, do we have the land acknowledgement available? And if we do, I'd like to ask Paula to read it.
Okay. We pause to acknowledge that Solano County Democratic Central Committee of the Democratic Party sits on the land of the Miwok and Patwin people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray in their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and the Miwok and Patwin people of the past and present.
Thank you. I think everyone who is here as a member alternate has been sworn in, so we will move to approval of minutes and agenda. First up is the August minutes.
This is Lynette. I move to approve the August minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right. Okay, everyone, please vote on the poll.
Who was the second?
Jack Flynn.
All right, next up, tonight's agenda. Does anyone have any additions, deletions, or corrections for the agenda?
I move that we approve the September 24, 2025 agenda.
This is Lynette. I second it.
Okay, you seconded, so unless there's discussion, let's launch the poll. All right. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Next item we have on our agenda is public comment. Public comment is for guests who are meeting. All comments are limited to 2 minutes. Additional time may not be granted, and the total comment period cannot exceed 30 minutes. So if any of our guests wish to make a comment at this time, please raise your hand.
I want to hear about Art's idea.
Hey, yeah, Art Confresi. I will start the timer once you begin speaking.
Okay, I'll start out with a question. How many of you remember or recall a movie called The Dark Knight, a TV series called The Wire, a movie called Ocean's 11, 12, 13, or whatever?
I remember.
Yeah.
Okay. The common theme in there was basically money, cash. In The Wire, it showed the process of how drugs are distributed in a neighborhood. Casinos, obviously, during the time had massive amounts of cash. And in the movie The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, there was a scene where he collected a warehouse full of money and he just redistributed portions of it to his fellow conspirators. And then he spent his half, his portion of it, he just burned it. The one thing that the money has in common is that they are comprised primarily of $100 bills. It got me to thinking, and stepping into the 21st century, I actually asked a question to ChatGTP, and the question is simply this: what would happen if the United States canceled $100 bills in exchange for credits, equivalent credits to the $100 bill? The response caught me by surprise. It's actually kind of very casual. It starts out, says, this is fascinating. What if question? If the United States suddenly canceled $100 bills, demonetizing them, and required everyone to exchange them for credits, basically electronic equivalents like digital ledger balances, the ripple effects would be big. Let me break it down for you.
Okay.
That's not my
Fortunately, you've kind of
ran too long. Okay, well. I can't hear
Don,
you.
you're muted. Don, you're,
John, you're muted.
Yeah, see, that's, of course I am. I hit my mute instead of unmute. I was saying, as I said, you did run over our time. I would encourage you to drop your, if you have it written down, either drop it in the chat or email it to us. So we can share it and give you the feedback that you asked for. Because unfortunately, we do not have the capacity to extend the time for public comment. But I appreciate you coming. I would like to actually get a chance to learn what you were going to share with us. So you would email that comments to us. I'd appreciate it.
Well,
And then we can have you come back and talk about it and schedule you on our agenda.
I would look forward to doing that. That's kind of it was one question and then it evolved into three questions. And the answers from ChatGPT was extensive and very compelling. So I would ask permission if I could come by and present this in its totality.
Yeah, I would certainly like to schedule you appropriately and do that. So again, if you would just follow up, send an email to chair@solanodemocrats.com so that we can get you on the agenda properly. Be happy to do that. And I'm sure many of our clubs would be interested in hearing from you as well. Okay, any other? I don't see any of our other guests, and I know we'll be hearing from Doug when we get to our letter on Sutter Health momentarily. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close our public comments for this evening and move on to our treasurer's report.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We'll give you this financial update. And if you've got a copy of it, you can follow along with me. We'll start with our federal account. Beginning balance in August 20th was $12,458.46. When we look at the credits, we have an allocation transfer from our state account of $556.23. We have contributions, one from Don Laurie for the Labor Day breakfast of $40, from Bryant Rogers, myself for the Labor Day breakfast of $40, and from Kathy Courage, I think through Progressive Dems of Benicia for $100. And we also have from Paula Barr or the United Dems, a $100 purchase for the Prop 50 signs, donation, not purchase. And also Rio Vista Democratic Club through myself, Bryant Rogers, for the Proposition 50 signs of $100, which gave us total credits of $936.23. And it brought our total to $13,394.69. Then looking at the debits, we have River City Business Services for $442.27. Our storage unit at $153, I'm sorry, and 99 cents. And then our insurance hit this time of $725. And then we had Act Blue bank fees of $12.45, with total debits of $1,333.71, bringing our federal ending balance to $12,060.98. Going on to our state account, again, beginning in August, on August 20th, we had a balance of $4,561.07. When we look at the contributions, we had Castanon, who paid dues at $35. We had Broomfield recurring a payment of $5 a month. We had Hardwick with $10. And then we had Mona Whitney Jacoby's with dues at $35. So we had a total of $85 there. And our total credits were $3,000, with that addition, $3,671.54.
Welcome to your NFL headlines of the day.
I'm sorry.
In the news,
Alexa, stop.
Okay, when we look at our debits, we had ActBlue merchant fees of $3.78. Those are bank fees again. Of course, the allocation transfer that we sent to our federal account of $556.23. And then we sent a check out to Napa Solano County, Napa Solano Central Labor Committee for $500 for the Labor Day breakfast. And that brought our debits to $1,060.01. And our state ending balance to $2,611.53. When we total both the federal account ending balance as well as the state ending balance, we have a total of $14,672.51. Any questions for anyone? Okay, thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you. And I will note for everyone, as you probably noticed, that does not include the payment for the signs, because that hit after we received the thing. So that'll be reflected $615, I think, roughly,
Yeah.
will be showing up on next month's account.
Bit after the 19th, so.
So thank you for that. Other reports from our officers. My report is largely going to be the discussion of the Prop 50 stuff, the campaigns and such that we've been going on. So we will forego that for this month. Northern Vice Chair, do you have anything to report?
Yes, but it's coming under the fundraiser report. Is Carrie on yet?
Yeah, she is.
Okay, yeah, we have something to share at the fundraiser, if that's
Okay.
I'll also wait, Chair, for that fundraiser report.
Sounds good. Secretary, do you have anything to add in addition to the minutes?
No.
Okay. Amber, do you have anything to report this month?
Yes, very quickly. So I made an update to our webpage. When you first go to our page, we now have a content slider for Yes on Prop 50. If you click on that, it'll take you to the CODEM website, and you can sign up in many different ways to get involved in the Yes on 50. I also, and I'm gonna make some more updates to this page as well, on our community events page, there's a bunch of phone banking and canvassing opportunities on here as well for people who want to see it broken down. I'm not going to upload every single opportunity because they literally phone bank like multiple times a day, like every day. So I'm pretty much uploading like a Saturday event or something like that. But when they click on the link where it says like find out more, it'll take them to the Mobilize link, which has all of the slots that you can sign up for or see here on the side. So that's all.
Awesome. Thank you for doing
Lovely.
It's great.
that. Okay. Parliamentarian, anything to report this month?
No.
All right. Moving right along, our communications committee, do you have a report for us this month?
Yeah, a brief. So we're on hiatus working, everyone's working on Prop 50. But last night we met with Vallejo, Benicia, and Divisible, and so we're sort of working together to optimize our efforts for Prop 50 and the upcoming October 18th No Kings protest rally and they're doing the one in Vallejo. So that's what we're doing. I can't hear you, Don.
I said, thank you for your report. And on to the fundraising committee for your report.
Thank you, Chair. Vernil and I met briefly today to discuss what's going on with the fundraising committee. We will be needing to put together a committee beyond just Vernil and myself. So please put your name in the chat that if you want to join us on the fundraising committee or reach out to Vernil or myself. We are currently looking at turning our holiday party into a fundraiser, and I'm looking for a free space, somebody's home, and we will be doing a nice and affordable dinner, and we will be asking for donations at the holiday party. So we're looking for folks to help us with that. And then Vernil, would you like me to explain the crab feed situation? Would you like to do that?
Oh, you can. I mean, I can fill in the blanks.
Okay. So because one of our clubs has already rented out the community center where we usually have our crab feed in March, we're looking at doing the awards banquet in February instead of a crab feed. And so that would be our second fundraiser in February. So Vernil, any blanks you want to fill in?
No, but we would be sending out an email asking for a committee to be developed. We haven't had an awards banquet in a couple of years now, so I think we're overdue. The clubs know, those that have been around know that the clubs identify and select who they want to be recognized for different categories of volunteerism with the Central Committee and the clubs. So I'm looking forward to this because we haven't done this in a while, but you will be getting more information on the awards banquet in February. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got one. I can't get my hand up. Whoops, I'm having trouble with my.
Like, we hear you though. Yeah.
Go right
Okay.
ahead.
So this is Kathy. How much money did we make on the last awards dinner as compared to what we made on the crab feed?
Oh, I don't know. I would have to look at I wasn't a part of the treasury on that part, so we would have to go back and look at some archives, I would assume, Karen.
Yeah.
See.
Well, we did about 33,000 totally when we came out of there. So
33,000?
well, that's what I mean, that's what we I mean, that wasn't the profit in that, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what did we net is what I
yeah. Let's see, I don't have it on the top of my head. I'll have to look it up. I don't have that on the top of my head, but it was significant.
And just to add in just a little bit more about we haven't had an awards banquet. However, I do have a call out to the wholesaler, the crab wholesaler that we used last year. And I had told him that we were looking, because I was looking we need like a signature event that every March or whatever, this is what you can expect from the Central Committee. That was my vision anyway. But I don't want to clash with other clubs because we're pulling from the same wallets. Having events back to back together, and because people get burned out or they can't afford it. So that was the reason that we said, well, we haven't had the awards banquet in a while, and we chose to go that route.
Paula?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we've never tried to use the awards banquet as a fundraiser, so we can't really go back and look at it and say, oh, well, we made this much money, 3 years ago, because we just never
Right, but we're gonna
did
have
it
to
that
start.
way. And unlike the crab feed, which we definitely pursued as a fundraiser.
Now, if this, this is just an idea that we're throwing out. Now, if you want, I can get the information on the crab fee, but keep in mind the expense. Crab, it's going up. Last year, there was a tiny little pushback until I made them understand what the prices were. It's going to be more this year. So I was also considering that, but I can get those figures if we want to move forward. But I would have to find a date, and see, March is usually the latest that a crab feed occurs.
Yeah. The only reason I'm asking is because I have this vague memory that we lost money at the awards dinner.
Yeah, I didn't attend the last one. Oh, I don't know. But I know someone I can go get the books from and see how the blueprint, right, Jeanette?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Bonnie?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to the crab feed. I'm a little bit confused. If we have a venue for February, can we do the crab feed in February? Because honestly, I think that we did it in March. It seemed like it was pretty late.
It was.
And, I'm not sure that, I mean, I would suggest if we could do a crab feed in February, let's do it. But what's the venue and what would be the difference in the venue?
And that's what I would have to get those figures for you.
So where
Right
would
now,
you do the awards? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, the awards, we were looking at the Yacht Club in Benicia. That was one venue that we were looking at.
Yeah, so that would be significantly smaller.
And then I don't know how we could really do it as a fundraiser. I'm not sure a whole lot of people are going to want to show up as a fundraiser.
Join our committee and come with your ideas and opinions and comments, and we can move forward. I don't want to take up this time doing committee work, but please join us and we can come up with something, because this is going to be, a very big year again in terms of the voting. So we need the funds. Okay?
Yeah. All right, thank you. Jeanette?
Yeah, I was just want to follow up on what Paula said. We never had the awards banquet as a fundraiser, but we didn't want to lose money on it. But we just wanted to have like a nice event that people could have. And I mean, Vernil mentioned the club awards, but then we also had like there's 6 or 7 awards that the central committee themselves votes on, and but members outside of the central committee can be also considered. So it's like county-wide, Solano County Democratic residents, but it was just to really honor the efforts and work of other people in doing that. But originally, way back when, the crab feed and the awards were at the same event. And so, but it just never seemed very honorable for the award winners, because everyone was chatting and talking and you couldn't eat either crab. That's why we separated them out. So, but they can always be put back together. But I also agree with the other comment that March was pretty late last year for the crab feed, because so many other organizations had been having their crab feeds the weeks, up prior to ours. So those are my comments.
Lynette?
Thank you. Sonoma County does their awards at their awards dinner. I mean, their crab feed. And yeah, it's kind of noisy, but people know towards the end they're going to do their club, all the awards for the Sonoma County Central Committee at that time. They often have a keynote speaker, and people tend to quiet down because they give them plenty of time to eat. And by the time we're ready to hear speakers, we're kind of at the dessert level, and they provide dessert, so it's not like an auction or anything like that. So that's just as another suggestion of maybe bringing them back together. But February, to me, would be the better month. If we can secure a venue for the crab feed, I would support that. Thank you.
Yeah, one of the big issues is that the Nelson Center is booked throughout February. So that kiboshes are the usual place for that. Looking at what I've quickly is, we netted about 2,000 on the 2024 awards dinner. We netted about 19,000 on the crab feed last year, with the caveat that about 5,000 of that, or 5,400 of that, was the online auction. So we would have to be able to duplicate the online auction, which may or may not happen. I know we had some good pieces there, but I don't know if that we can necessarily guarantee that we'll always have good pieces for that, but still, we did very well with the crab feed as a fundraiser. And as has been said in the past, they were combined. And historically, we presented the awards at the crab feed. So if we have a venue that is of a decent size and decent acoustics, so that it's a snowball's chance of hearing speakers, you know, it would not be amiss to do that again. But I will leave that to the fundraising committee. If you have a magic location in mind, we'll go with that. So.
Okay, now I'll also look into, since look like crab feed seems to be what people want. I can look at Dan Foley in Vallejo. You know, it's part of Solano County too, so we can see what their prices are. I was just we all know that the Nelson Center is one of the affordable community centers when you compare. But we can look, and I also, what is it in Vacaville, Utah?
Yeah, Vacaville has a couple of
Dallas, yeah. Okay.
They're typically high priced though.
They are, yeah.
In comparison to the Nelson Centers. But again, I'll leave it to the committee to do its work. And I want to thank you both for coming up with some good ideas, and look forward to the holiday party and seeing how that shapes out as well. Anything else before I move on to the legislation committee?
That's all I have to report. Carrie, are you good?
Good, thank you, Vernil. Thank you, Chair.
Right. All right. Next up, legislation committee. So Bonnie, I think this is your final report of the year. So
Yeah, well,
take
you
it
know, we
away.
might actually have some things to report next month, just because, you know, most of our bills that we were following are on the governor's desk for either approval to be made into law or to be vetoed. We don't know. But so that's where those are. That some highlights was the law enforcement masks one. I'm sure, I don't know if people have heard even on the regular news that that passed and the governor signed that into law. So people are not, law enforcement is not supposed to wear masks now in their line of duty, even at the quote federal level, even though I'm not sure that's enforceable, but that's how it's being framed by the governor. A couple of things that came up at the last minute, which was really interesting. There was a bill that was passed in the budget process in June, SB 131, that is something was allowing the California Environmental, Quality Act, the CEQA, to build structures without going through as intensive a CEQA review as normal. You know, CEQA is kind of to guarantee that there's not that big of an environmental impact. However, in this kind of trailer bill that passed, it also allowed to bypass CEQA for advanced manufacturing, which was a really broad term, which would mean just about anybody could, you know, like they could do shipbuilding in Collinsville without CEQA. I mean, there are many things that could fall under that umbrella. And there was a big effort to fix that at part of that legislation. And it didn't look like it did happen, but it is in the 2-year process. So there is a bill that was created to correct that language in that particular bill. And that was a big thing. A lot of people were very concerned about carving out advanced manufacturing out of being under CEQA review. So I just wanted to bring that up. There are also another couple of other last minute things. We have a couple of the supervisors on this call. So at the supervisor meeting on September 9th, there was a huge thing about possible shipbuilding in southern Solano County and along the Delta. There was a bill that supposedly was going to be proposed address that issue, but that never transpired. But the Board of Supervisors did pass something, and I'm not quite sure. I don't think I fully understand what the implications of that are. I'm not sure if this is the right time, but I just wanted to kind of point that out. And then the last thing is that the governor also came out with what they call a drill baby drill, a bill by the governor. It has to do with it's SB 237. And again, this was kind of a last thing that would allow more extension of fossil fuel drilling in Kern County. But it also has some put in some safety guardrails for pipelines as well, for spills and that sort of thing. So again, those are kind of the things that popped up in the last part of this session that were, in my opinion, a little bit interesting. Let me know if anyone has questions. I see Monica's hand up. Maybe she's going to respond to my ignorance about the shipbuilding project in Southern Solano County.
Monica.
Sorry, I have to, yes, so what we voted on was to do nothing because the language that was put on did not go through with anybody. So we are mute in terms of where we want to build whatever it is that we want to build.
Well, so in other words, there's no consequences to your actions of that day of what the board did.
Oh, exactly.
Very
Okay, there's a lot of stuff that was in that I cannot explain on all of this, but let's just say it killed everybody for 2 weeks working weekends for somebody's ego, and I'll let it go at that.
Yep, I totally agree. Yeah, thank you for that, Monica.
Any other questions for our Ledge Committee Chair?
Paula,
Paula,
you're
unmute
muted.
yourself. I get to say it to somebody else for a change.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm usually better. So there was a bill about the regional power thing. I think it was 540.
Let me look at that. I've got everything up here.
It passed.
Oh, yikes. Well, I hope we don't regret that.
Well, no, not 540 did not pass. 540 is still, well, it didn't make it out of utilities and energy in the assembly.
No, but the regional grill bill was passed in some form.
Yes, it was SB 820, it turned into SB 825.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I don't know. I haven't been following that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a gut and amend.
I see.
Bummer.
Well, there could be some good sides, some benefits to the bill as well. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
There are. I mean, if you're bringing in clean energy into the state, I think that's the caveat. We don't really want dirty energy to come into the state. So, but we can share our clean energy, I think would be a good thing. Anyway.
Yeah, I think what the big problem was possibly having FERC have a lot of control over the grid, which will be controlled by Trump.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Any other, excuse me, any other questions for our Ledge Committee?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We appreciate it. Why did I do that? Next item I have is letter of support for healthcare workers at Sutter Health. If we can pull that draft letter up to share. Long story short, there is negotiations that are. We were asked to write a letter in support of the workers, and I believe Doug Jones is here to speak on what is going on and share what's going on. So let me ask him to.
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Okay, let me spotlight.
And hopefully I've actually gone walking through the neighborhood near the event that I'm in right now. So I've stationed myself under a street light. And so hopefully I'm well lit enough for you to be able to see me.
All right, so go ahead and 5 minutes to tell us what's going on. Thanks.
So you know me, Doug Jones, political organizer. I've been the East Bay political organizer since 2008. I worked at a Sutter hospital. I worked at Sutter Eden Medical Center for 25 years. First 18 years, it was a district hospital. And I didn't feel the need to have the union. The management treated us with sufficient respect. And Sutter Health took over our formerly district hospital, and the labor relations not only went south, but lots of things started happening that were undermining patient care and patient care access. And unfortunately, Sutter Health has not gotten any better since I was a worker there in the 2000s. In the current contract negotiations, unfortunately, one of the challenges we have with Sutter is that because of their bad labor relations and their interest in keeping workers from having union rights and collective bargaining processes, about half of the Sutter hospitals in Northern California, the workers in our job classifications, which is a broad set of service and technical classifications, everything from respiratory therapist on the top end and on the lower end, skilled workers, but on the lower end is dietary workers and environmental service workers. So typically hundreds to over 1,000 workers at each of the Sutter hospitals in Northern California, where we represent workers, a total of 5,000 in Northern California. About 250 of them work in the county at Sutter Solano Medical Center. Sutter Health is a not-for-profit healthcare corporation that made over $1 billion in margin this year. They pay their CEO over $11 million a year for a not-for-profit Northern California only corporation. That is an obscene compensation for an executive. Many of their executives make over $1 million a year, while simultaneously they drive very poor labor relations and standards in wages and benefits that make it impossible for Sutter Health hospitals to retain and recruit staff properly, which creates a staffing problem, which undermines access to patient care, and it undermines quality of care. An example of how Sutter Health themselves knows that they have a problem with retention and recruitment of staff and simultaneously want to respond to that by undermining union organizing is that at the workers in our job classifications at non-union Sutter hospitals, where our workers don't have the union, most recently got a 9% wage increase. Now, obviously, they don't have the worker rights and the benefits that the members we have it, but still, they responded to their retention and recruitment problem at non-union Sutter hospitals by giving them a 9% wage increase this year, while currently, as of this morning anyway, at the bargaining table, management's economic position was a 9% wage increase for the unionized workers represented by SAUHW over 3 years. So they're offering the unionized workers 333 and simultaneously trying to do a takeaway on health. A healthcare benefit that is already inferior to the healthcare benefit that our members, Liliana and our other members who work at Kaiser have. It's even inferior to the healthcare benefit that workers at Dignity Health and other hospital systems and independent hospitals have. So Sutter Health is not bargaining in great faith. And the good news from the standpoint of the workers at Sutter Solano standing up for staffing for the community is that in 2021, during the last contract negotiations, the workers, many of you may know, right across the bay at Sutter Delta Medical Center, those workers were the one group of workers in the Sutter system that said no to a mediocre contract, and they were willing to strike, and they struck twice in order to get their staffing issues dealt with in the contract, and they won. They struck very hard, and even though they were the one hospital in the whole system, they won. This time, Sutter Solano workers and the workers at all the Sutter hospitals are much better organized. The chance of a strike at Sutter Solano and all of the Sutter facilities is very high this time. based on A, the workers are better organized, and B, Sutter is not bargaining in great faith. One thing, we're very pleased that the campaign so far has brought in a ton of political support because the workers have done a fantastic job. And amongst the things I'll highlight is something that I just sent in the meeting chat, which is that this week, Senator Bernie Sanders came into support of this campaign. Now, as you can see, his support is expressed in the form of a tweet rather than this letter. And I do want to clarify the ask that we're making of the county party is not to write your own individual letter, but this language that you see here, I think it's the identical language to what we emailed to you, right, Don? Is that correct?
It's taken from the letter that we received from Central Labor Council.
Got it.
So
the Contra Costa Labor Council is already in support of the open letter to Sutter management that I believe you see here. We're asking the county party not to write your own individual letter, but to join the Labor Council, to join over a dozen elected officials in Solano County. I know that there are some elected officials on this meeting that I haven't got to yet, but I will. We've got over 65 elected officials that have gotten on this letter too, including about a dozen in Solano County. So we're asking the county party to become a public supporter of this letter. The letter would be published publicly in early October.
Doug, your 5 minutes are up, so let me
I'm done.
pivot to see if there are questions. Bridget, did you have a question?
Well, I was actually going to make a motion
Okay.
to support the letter or the language as requested.
So I'm going to hold that in abeyance just quickly. Does anyone have any questions of Doug? If so, please raise your hand.
Don, I'm sorry, I can't raise my hand, but I just had one question. You said about 50% of the workers aren't unionized now, or you said something about 50%, and I was unclear.
I don't know the exact number of Sutter hospitals in Northern California where the workers have not gotten into the union, but my understanding is that, so we represent workers at 8 Sutter hospitals in Northern California, 9 hospital buildings. So not just Sutter Solano, but also Sutter Delta and Antioch, Sutter Lakeside and Lakeport, Sutter Santa Rosa, Sutter San Francisco, the one private hospital that's south of Market in San Francisco, at Eden Hospital in Castro Valley, where I used to work, at Ultimate Summit in Oakland and Berkeley, at Sutter Roseville. I think I named them all. That's about 5,000 workers. There's about that many hospitals, and I don't know how many workers would be in our job classifications where Sutter has succeeded because they run scorched earth anti-union organizing campaigns to prevent those workers from successfully voting to have their union. So as a result, unlike what Liliana gets to experience at Kaiser, where all of the hospitals and the clinics are organized and people have a collective bargaining process, at a ton of Sutter hospitals, the workers are underpaid and have worse working conditions. And of course, that makes it harder for the unionized workers to win as well.
Okay.
Michelle.
So, if we want to get more information, what source would you give us? That's my first question. My second one is, how much did you say that what was their profit again?
Sutter Health has billions and billions of dollars in excess cash sitting around. And one of the things that built up those billions and billions of dollars as excess cash is that in 2024, in a single year, Sutter Health made over $1 billion in margin.
Okay, so I guess this is what I'm wondering is it's not a for-profit corporation, so there aren't stockholders. Where does that money go?
That's what we say. So for example, one of the things that sometimes Sutter will try to do to shave the math here and shave the data is that they'll say, well, we made most of our money from our investments. Where that $1 billion, about 200 something million was from operations, and then the rest of it was from our investments. Our point of view, what's the investment money for?
Yeah,
it's got to be there to provide health care. Right?
Why are they investing? I mean, it's not a bad idea, but anyway, it just seems really quite bizarre. Can you give me? You had mentioned respiratory therapists and then dietitians. Do you have sort of a medium salary for those 2 positions?
Well, Liliana is here, so she can tell you what she makes. If I understand it correctly, Liliana, you work as a medical assistant at Kaiser. Is that right? Is Liliana available?
Hi, sorry, I had to get off mute. I'm not a medical assistant. I guess I would be considered on the lower level. But I make about 75 to 80,000 a year.
Yeah. And with an excellent healthcare benefit and retirement.
Yes.
Defined benefit pension, an excellent healthcare benefit. No premium payments for themselves or their families, $5 co-pays for most everything.
Is a college education required for that position, Liliana?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a solidly middle-class job. And that's because the workers fought to make that so. And Kaiser is, while their labor relations have not been great in recent years, they have a history of having good labor relations. And that's one of the things that has built Kaiser as a successful corporation. The workers are considered more substantially than at Sutter. So yeah, Sutter's, I think what you're hearing about their executive comp and their, excessive margin as a not-for-profit company reflects some misplaced values, and the workers are trying to do something about it.
Well, good luck with it.
Okay.
Don, are you around?
Has Don disappeared?
He may be muted, but Carrie's hand is up. Let's hear what Carrie has to say.
Thank you, Paula. I second Brigette's motion.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the motion?
The motion was to support the Central Committee signing on to Doug's letter and
Okay.
et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, on the agenda, it's authorization to issue letter of support and authorized work action.
Yeah.
That's fine. Whatever you need, Doug. Yeah, let us know the language you want.
Exactly. So to offer some clarity, we're asking the Central Committee to be named along with the Napa-Solano Labor Council, a ton of elected officials and other community organizations as co-signers to a joint letter, which will be sent out publicly. It'll be published in local newspapers, to be honest. And that's going to happen in early October. So we would like this county party to be amongst the, supporters of that letter.
Of course, I think the motion that I stated was to that effect, correct?
I'm hopeful it's clear.
Sure, why
I
not?
hopeful it's clearly understood by what I just said. Yeah, that's what we're asking for.
Okay, Michelle, I see your hand up.
Yeah, so I really support what you're doing. I'm just curious who else has signed on.
Every labor council under the jurisdiction, of the, where the hospitals are, where our workers are organizing. So that's 6 different labor councils are on board. This is the first county party which will get on board. The Issues Committee of the Contra Costa Democratic Party moved this in their meeting on Monday, and their full central committee is going to hear this soon. It's not going to be as soon as we would like, but it's going to be soon. So that county party is going to be in support. Alameda County Democratic Party is also moving a process and will find themselves in support, we believe, early next year. And as I said, as of this afternoon, I think the last count was 65 elected officials. So that would include 2 county supervisors. I'm talking about Solano County. 2 county supervisors, 3 mayors, a whole bunch of city council members. So, and it's 65 elected officials total, and that's in all those various counties that I mentioned.
And they've signed on to this.
They've literally said, yes, we want to be public supporters of the letter. We're ready to have our names published along with the long list of other supporters publicly. Yeah, it's a public letter to Sutter Manager.
So it sounds like in terms of Central Committee, Solano County be leading the way again.
You would. That is correct. That is correct. But yeah, other county parties are in process, and we expect them to get on board.
Okay.
Okay, Brigitte, your hand's up again.
Yeah, so just to clarify, by the motion to sign on to this letter will allow us to be part of the group that will be on the letter when it goes out in October, correct?
That's my understanding.
That's the ask.
Excellent.
All right, is there,
Good.
did we get a second
We have
for
a
that
second.
motion?
Yeah, we
All
did
right.
have a second.
Gary,
All right.
what's the second?
Is there any
Mhm.
further discussion? If not, can we launch the poll for the Sutter letter? Vote early, vote often. Thank you, everyone. And actually, this was two separate items. Because we were fortunate enough to receive the request for the Sutter letter in a timely manner to be placed on the agenda. But there are occasions where a labor issue comes to its head between meetings and don't necessarily have the luxury of waiting to the next membership meeting. So after talking with Glenn at CLC, what I want to ask is authorization that should it become necessary, the e-board may issue a letter of support for a CLC approved labor action in the future, should it become necessary to do so without waiting for a meeting. And that's wanted to get the membership to discuss that, and if necessary, and ideally approve that so that we can support our working siblings when necessary in the future, hamstrung by an inconvenient timing of those requests. Paula?
So that would be the e-board voting for the whole central committee to,
Yes, if it's something where the timing does not allow us to bring it back to the entire body. Now, obviously, the preference would be always to bring it to the membership, but I know sometimes we don't always have that luxury.
stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would move that we authorize the e-board to act between meetings or authorized work actions.
Second,
Miguel.
Thanks, Miguel.
All right. Look, do we have any hands up for discussion on this? Michelle?
It seems pretty broad to me. I mean, obviously something needs to be done so you're not handicapped and you can take action, but there's no criteria that's been put forth for it. So I like the idea, but not just completely open-ended without any criteria.
Well, my perception of the criteria, if I didn't express it, was something where the Central Labor Council has authorized support for labor action, which does not always occur. But as in the event the Central Labor Council is asking for support, I would like for us to be in a position to do so. So that would be my definition of criteria.
And it would need a majority vote of the e-board. So there are some of us on there that don't always agree with the Central Labor Council that would be in a position to plead our case.
And the hope would be that we would have a robust about the merits of any particular request.
I just think it needs to be articulated so that it's clear, Dawn. I mean, I'm all for it, but I just think it needs some boundaries. You know, what type of actions or is it specific things that can be okayed that just isn't, you know, something that needs immediate action and you say that and then it comes back before the membership or, you know, I just think it needs a little bit of discussion, but
Go
maybe
ahead.
not now, not because we've got Prop 50 to talk about, but at some point, maybe, you know, we can okay it for now, but with the understanding that there is a discussion in the future to kind of, like I said, articulate exactly what that means.
Right. Right. That's certainly a welcome discussion. Make sure everyone understands what we mean. That certainly don't want anyone to have misconstrued the intent. So, Lynette.
Sorry about that. Couldn't get to the unmute button. I don't have the reservations that may have been put forward into the discussion. We've been in this position before, and our voices on the Labor Council are heard with the understanding that we're not just that we're speaking with a lens of Democrats and ensuring that our constituency group is covered and not just a labor issue. And so I'm confident if we have to make a decision in between that all those concerns will be addressed and brought forward. So I would not put any caveats to it now, but I would vote to support the motion that was put forward. Thank you.
Do we have any other discussion? I do believe we had motion second.
Can you repeat exactly what the motion is? I have down to allow the e-board to act between meetings for authorized work actions.
Yes, for labor actions that are authorized by the Central Labor Council. To issue letters of support. And I'd limit it to that intent. If the timing does not permit it to come before the general membership. So with that clarification, are we, other questions? Are we ready to launch a poll?
Can you repeat the clarification, Don, and the limitation?
The notion is that if timing requires it, that we don't have the time to bring it before the membership, that the executive board would be authorized to determine whether to issue a letter of support for labor actions that are authorized by the Central Labor Council.
Wow, well done.
Don, I'm hoping we could vote on this so we can find out where we all stand so we can move forward. And
I've been asking, making sure that we have the discussion.
Sure.
And are we ready for that poll?
Okay, all right.
Because I don't see we have, aside from the request for clarification, I don't see much additional discussion. So if that poll is ready to launch, please vote. Item one.
I think you're still on mute, Don. Like,
Where'd he go?
he's good. Go ahead.
Right. Right. That isn't working to have it up in my phone as well. Next item is the Yes on Prop 50 update. We've had walks being organized by the Central Labor Council, by the Central Committee, and by clubs for the last 3 weekends. I know levels of support have varied from the different walks. I appreciate those of you who have made it out to those walks. We have more walks coming up in Fairfield, in Vallejo. Future walks are planned in Benicia, and I'm sure there'll be walks scheduled elsewhere in the North County as well. Phone banking operations are underway virtually for those of you who wish to sign up. Texting operations are available through the campaign. And we have the lawn signs, which are moving pretty quickly on those. I'm going to actually ask Paula and Kathy and Karen to report on signs and our progress in getting those out.
So I have about 40 of them left in my car right now, and I sent an email out to the United Dems in my personal email list, gave them the link to Act Blue that Karen generated, and I will deliver this. Actually, I'm going to take about half of them to Kathy tomorrow because she's like running out.
Yeah, I start
going fast.
I started out with 25, and I think I have about 3 or 4 left. And I'll put out another notice this weekend. So I think that we'll be able to give away more. Well, sell more. We've sold quite a few of them. Most of them.
And I have about 7 signs left, so I think we'll be fine. And if we need more, we will holler out. But like you said, Don, I don't know if we'll need as many like we did for the candidate signs that we had. So trying to put them in areas where they'll be viewed in high visibility areas is one of our strategies.
And I will add to that in addition to the Central Committee's purchase, the Northern Club bought about 100 signs. We've already given out a number of them, but I would imagine that if we need to share the wealth, we could probably make arrangements to do so, but they have been proving to be very popular. I do want to share with you all that actually the printer made a miscalculation as she prepared her bid. So she should have been, with the 200 signs, should have been a lot closer to 2,000 instead of the 1,200 it actually was. And when she called to let us know, and I let her know we were only authorized to spend the 1,200, she basically said, well, I will eat the difference on this because it's my mistake. So we ended up with the 200 signs that we had agreed between us. And yes, as Carrie's message, it is Abco Printing in Concord. They're a union print. And they've been very responsive to normal printing requests in the past. And I certainly want to encourage everyone to consider using them. We'll share their information in the future.
What was the name? Abco?
Abco, AABCO Printing. They're very, have been very responsive to us with our printing needs. So it's a fairly local printer I would recommend for those of us who like to stick to union printers. And I believe it's a woman-owned business as well, but I can't swear to that. Does anyone have anything else they wish to say, generally speaking, on the Yes on 50 campaign? Before we move on to the discussion of lawn signs, before I forget it, the PDI on the go app is functional. So those of you who want to walk on your own time in your own neighborhood can sign in and do it. Just connect with whoever has the Yes on 50 lit for you, and you're good to go. Michelle.
So people have been asking me about that. How do you actually get PDI on the go if you're not in a?
I have an instruction sheet I just got today.
Okay, can you send that to me?
Yeah, in fact, I'll send it to the whole central committee.
Oh, great, perfect, yeah. And I just want to check one last thing on signs. So is that it? We've got 200 signs and we're not going to get any more. Is that it?
We had 100 for this central committee.
Right, right. But
To
there's
date,
another 100.
yeah, but I mean with Don's too, but we've sold, well, we have on the books, we've sold 24 about or so, but we still have people that, you know, that was captured in the report I did, but we still have some that came through today, and I'm sure we have people that have asked for them, and we just haven't gotten them to them, but I'm sure that we'll exhaust our kitty.
The reason I ask is that Indivisible has this like supply of these signs. So if there's like a big demand, get a hold of me or get a hold of Claire at Vallejo Benicia Indivisible, and they get the signs for $5 each. And they already have them made up. There's some like, they've got some big indivisible pool of signs. So you wouldn't have to put in another order and wait. So it'd be quick if it turns out that the need is there.
That's good to
Michelle, do they have big signs or just the yard signs?
Yard signs.
So I would say if you as individuals wish to access those signs, I would encourage you to do so. And of course, as an institution, I'm not going to make any proffers one way or the other on that. So there's no question of inter-organizational donations, but if you as individuals want to ask Indivisible, go right ahead. I think it's a good thing. Next up, actually, before I leave, I just want to encourage all of you again. If you can walk or phone, please do so. Please get in touch with your local club or other organization that's organizing walk. Participate. I know some of us have been walking wearing union hats instead. That's fine too, but we do need to get out there and get the word out. And those of you who prefer to phone or text or postcard, do that as well. You know, all hands on deck over the next 5 weeks or so. Kathy.
I have, we've posted walks in Benicia and Vallejo on Mobilize, and I've sent out, I sent out our MailChimp list and stuff, and I'm not getting a ton of response about canvassing. So, are people calling? Like, I know Karen had a really good turnout. I'm just looking for suggestions to get more canvassers. I'm thinking about calling the membership individually and doing a phone call, but anybody else have any ideas?
Historically, the more direct touch you make to make for people, the better. In past years when organizing, it has been the case of needing to call through the volunteer list each time and ask them, are you available this weekend to walk? Are you available this weekend to walk? So that may be what transpires in your case. We've had some luck in recent years in the more broader signing, but the personal touch always helps. Paula.
So the United Dems split up our membership list among about 5 of us, and we called every single member, not emailed, not text. We called and we talked to them on the phone, and the level of apathy was pretty stunning. And discouraging, but it is what it is, and you just keep going. But in the process of all of this, one of the things I discovered is a woman here in Vallejo who, on her own initiative, for the last month has been making and hanging banners across I-80 at Springs Road every Friday night, pro Prop 50 banners. And so we're going to go help her with that. And it's a great idea. It's an inexpensive thing to do, doesn't take a lot of energy, and you do reach a lot of people who at least they don't get any of the background, but they at least know that we support Prop 50. Just throwing that out there.
Multiple touches may be necessary. Michelle.
Yeah, so I think people are working in inner groups, and it's really productive and great in establishing relationships, which will serve us better for later. Right now, we're building them now. But also what we've been doing is we've produced a lot of literature, and people are welcome to use that. I don't know if I've actually sent it up to the North County yet, but Benicia and Vallejo have produced a couple of flyers. They're going to table at both farmers markets. And so that's there. If anyone, maybe I should just send it to you, Dawn or Kathy, and you guys send it out. What do you think?
Happy to send it out. Feel free to share it.
Okay, in case anyone can use
it. Send
it
out to the members.
Great, thanks.
Okay. All right. The next item I have was a request for us to discuss ordering some highway signs for Prop 50. Typically, anywhere from 2x4s, 4x4 up to 4x8. I think the most common dimension I've seen the no on 50 signs has been a 4x4 sign, but we can certainly discuss that. And again, so the request was that we discuss whether or not it is worthwhile for the Central Committee to purchase a number of highway signs to put out throughout the county. So I don't know if anyone wants to take the lead on that discussion or not. I'll say, Paula, your hand's up.
Yeah, I don't want to take the lead on the discussion, but I'd like to know what the price point is we're talking about.
Yeah, that's my question too.
I don't have any specific information other than checking 3 or 4 vendors that I've used in the past. Their online quotes were in the $60 to $70 range. That's for 25 signs. It drops significantly for if we do 50 signs or 100 signs, down to the $30, $40 a sign range, but still we're a potentially significant chunk of money going out. So, but we would have to narrow in on the vendor and how much we wanted to pay, because what's not included in those quotes is the shipping. And because those online sources are often out of state, so the shipping is a few $100s over and above their quoted price for the printing itself. Kathy, did you have anything else other than that question?
Well, I would just, I think that, I know I don't know, there are all these no on 50 signs, and it's nice to have a little countervailing yes. So people just don't think, oh, it's all no's. And I know like in Benicia, here we could maybe use 3. But if we could get a bulk purchase, maybe if other clubs think, oh, well, we could use 2 or 3, if the clubs all came up with enough so we could get 25 or whatever price point that would be. The advantage of ordering them through the central committee is that we might be able to get a bulk price.
Karen?
Okay, so I'm trying to discern whether we're talking about, when you say highway signs, are we talking just bigger signs? We're not talking about the outdoor signs that are on a highway, right? We're talking.
No,
We're
I think
talking
more like
about the coroplast signs like you see that Mike
Oh.
Thompson puts up
Okay,
alongside
Yeah.
highways.
okay, that's
Yeah,
what I
like
want to know.
the 4x4 ones. Like here in Benicia, typically there are 3 or 4 intersections where people will put up big signs.
Okay, thank
So
you.
they're not actually on the highway, but they're generally at the end of freeway off ramps.
Okay, thanks. That's what I need to know.
Bonnie?
Yeah, so I had noticed 2 big no on Prop 50 signs in my neighborhood, like one at the entrance to my neighborhood, and then one at one of the intersections here in, I think, Abernathy and Waterman or whatever. So, I think it would be a really good idea. I mean, I hate seeing those signs, and they're very dull. I mean, they're just they just say no on Prop 50. There's nothing eye-catching, but there's nothing to counter that. And I would say in a large kind of more rural county like ours, I think they are useful out on those roads that are pretty heavily traveled, even though it's in a rural area. So that's number one. Also, I think the idea of, I would be willing to donate to this. I mean, I think it's so important, and I feel like we're so far behind in this campaign. We've only got like a week until the ballots drop, a week or 2. So, and I think it's great to canvass and to call, and that's a great approach. But there's a lot of people that need to be touched out there.
Yeah.
And we really need to do whatever we can, and certainly we need to counter those folks that are out there with the no on Prop 50 signs. But I'd be willing to pitch in $100, for it. That might cover 2 signs or just about. So anyway, if folks could look at it that way, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'd be willing to contribute money also.
Another option to consider that I've heard some people put out there is going old school and, buying sheets of plywood and buckets of paint and doing our own rather than having them printed. I don't
That's
know how
right. We
much
could have sign
cheaper
making
that would be, but
parties. We could even, if we do postcard parties, why don't we do some sign making parties? That would be a really good bonding experience as well. So that's another idea. But we need to get on this fast.
Well, how much would plywood cost or wood cost as opposed to the sign?
Well, Christina says plywood's actually super expensive, so it may not be cheaper. I'll confess, it's been several years since I've needed to order plywood, so I wouldn't know. But regardless, if the Central Committee is doing this as an organization, we'll need to spend some chunk of money. And you heard our report earlier, we are about total of about $14,000. Actually probably about $1,000 less than that now. It's available, and I don't know I don't know what our costs would be, probably for 25 signs in the neighborhood of 1,500 to 2,000, depending on, assuming we can find a local printer or sign maker willing to do them for us. And so we're not incurring substantial shipping charges. Bonnie.
Yeah, so two questions and one comment. The question is the printer that you mentioned in Contra Costa, I sure would be worthwhile checking it with them to see what that cost would be, because we could certainly drive there to pick signs up. And then the second thing is, you wouldn't need plywood. You could do it with what they print the signs on, which is just basically, enhanced poster board, the kind that kids do with a project. You don't need plywood. And we probably have enough stakes, out and around to put them up. Just need some zip ties and some metal stakes. And I know that we have folks like Audra. She has all mine from my campaign, so I gave them all to her. So I know she's got a bunch of them. And I know Corey has a bunch too.
Okay.
So do we need a motion?
Well, we would absolutely, if we're spending Central Committee money, we absolutely need a motion. So we would need someone to set an upper limit on the budget, and we'll see if we can get and then how many signs you hope to order. We may not be able to achieve that number of signs, but that would give a ballpark.
Sorry to say, I should have looked all this up before. I'm having a hard time. I'm trying to look up the AABCO, but they don't even have signs on their website. So, I would say, $1,000 with members supplementing that, up to $1,000 with members supplementing to try to buy 25 of them to distribute them around the county.
I second that.
So that was 1,000 for 25 signs.
1,000 plus supplementation from the membership.
Yeah.
For as many signs as we can get.
Okay.
What?
I would support that.
That said, assuming the motion passes at all, you need to get not only your pledge, but your money to Karen, like by Friday, I would say, so that we know exactly how much money we're working with before we were to attempt to place an order. Karen.
My question would be, when you say supplement, what type of supplement are we talking about? Are we talking $10, $25, $50?
Well, Bonnie and I just agreed to give $100.
200, yeah, total. So anything anybody can give. How about that? Like a sliding scale.
Carrie?
So that would be, I'm sorry. So that would be anybody who wanted the signs, or how are we?
No. I think the signs are just for the whole committee for the
Oh,
county.
okay.
No, this
Okay.
would be making a donation, whether you set up a separate link or simply designate one of our existing links for the purpose of making that contribution to you so that we would know that how much we're working with.
Okay.
Because if we're only dealing with 50, we may not be able to get anything. Or we may end up with like 20 signs. But who knows? We will do what we can do. Carrie, sorry, we cut you off.
That's okay. So that we don't create more work for Amber, can we use our generic Act Blue donation and just comment that it's for Prop 50 signs as our donation and make it really easy to, we were talking before about like sponsorships of signs, and I too want to donate $100, but I want to make it easy on the committee and easy for people to, the committee members to make the donation. So,
Could we use the same sign, Act Blue account, and then just send an email to Karen saying, I just made one, but I want this to go to the big signs?
Well, actually, what happens with that is that it limits my ability to know what goes where, because there's a limit on the signs you could
Okay.
buy. So let me figure that out, and if not, we'll just have another port for street signs.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Jeanette?
That's exactly what I wanted to ask, if there was a way that we could do it through the Act Blue too. And then I also want to say, whenever it's determined how much money we have in ordering signs, we need to make sure that we can get them in a timely fashion. So
Yeah.
not spend the money and get something, 2 days before the election or ballot. So those
Yeah.
are my two comments. That's it. Thanks.
We would be have limited to someone who's a reasonably local printer at this stage, and
Yeah, where we can
then
pick
the
them up,
capacity
probably.
of someone to go get them.
Yeah.
To be honest. So if you have a friend with a pickup truck, start whining and dining them. Bonnie.
Yeah, I mean, for those big signs, you don't even need a pickup truck. All you need is a hatchback. I mean, that's what I have, and I transported big signs. So I just want to say, maybe should we put a friendly amendment to put a time definite on this? Like I think if we order it within the next week and get the money, order it, it should be, it doesn't, usually the turnaround time is not that great. Maybe a couple of days.
It depends on what capacity the printers are currently at. Let's be realistic. We're placing a last minute order at the height of campaign season. So,
but there's not that much campaigning going on right now. That's all. That's the point. This is not a big election year, other than the proposition.
Still local elections happening too. Yvonne?
Yeah, has there been any effort to reach out to our local leaders, like state senators and so forth, to find out what they feel would be most effective, and maybe there's something out there that we're not getting that we could really use? Instead of ordering signs, there might be other ways that we can, that's already available.
Well, the broad answer is there's plenty of advertising venues that are going on, and I'm sure every politician has their own opinion on what works best and what doesn't.
Yeah, but I've also heard that we're way behind on advertising. The no's no on the prop are just pouring all sorts of advertising. We need to get something out there, but it might already be ready if we could just find out where it is, instead of paying for more stuff or getting money to somebody.
Yeah, I don't know that, in terms of this topic, I don't know of anybody who is offering highway signs that I have been able to find. Anyone that has that information, I'd be happy to entertain it. As for the broader picture, the point is taken, but I don't think even if we drained our coffers completely, we would do much, but maybe buy a few dozen points of advertising statewide for the campaign. So the discussion was asked to be focused on wall signs, so that's where we're at. Any other discussion on the lawn signs? And I know we had the figures mentioned. Was that a specific motion and second, Kathy? Did we get?
Yeah, so I'll say the motion is that the central committee will spend up to $1,000. Members can donate additional money by Friday to get as many 4x4 signs as we want, or do we want to say to get a minimum of 20?
I mean, we can go with setting a minimum, although we may, if we're limited to how much we raise, it may just be how much we have.
Yeah.
All in on the price. So
Okay, well then let's just say motion to spend up to $1,000 with additional money donated by members by Friday for the purchase of, well, it could be, I would be flexible of 4x4 or 3x5 of, whatever might be cheapest.
okay. Let me add a caveat. Can we say like 3 o'clock Friday so that we have a number and can make actual calls Friday afternoon?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. All right. And we had a second to that, did we not? And if so, whoever seconded, can you agree with those amendments?
I seconded and I agree.
Okay. All right. So do we have that, Amber, to launch that poll? Okay. Yeah, vote early, vote often.
Okay.
And the motion passes. So I will encourage those of you who are making those donations, get them to Karen as soon as she's got the link up and running, and I'm sure she'll send it out as soon as it's done. I will also ask you all to go scrounging for your stakes for signs. And then the third ask I'll make is that since we have made the decision to put so much money behind Proposition 50, that of course impacting our ability to function in 2026. So I'm going to ask you to attend our holiday party and awards dinner and buy generously at all the various auctions that are happening, so that we can afford to win in 2026 as well. Announcements. Do we have any announcements?
No.
See no hands raised. All right then. I will. I think it's either today or yesterday was Rosh Hashanah. So happy New Year to those of you who practice that faith. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. This is Paula.
Second, Carrie.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, good night, everyone.
Aye.
All right.
Good
Aye,
night.
aye,
Bye.
aye. Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Nice.
Hey, Don,
Yes.
can you stay on just for a sec?